What's up guys, my name's Brandon, and Apple surprised everybody when they dropped the second beta of iOS 11 yesterday on a Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I don't know if that's ever been done before, but it caught everybody off guard, including myself, and I was not able to make a video yesterday when it came out. But in this video today, I'm going to be going over 25 new features and changes in Beta 2 from Beta 1. And of course, just like with every other beta release, I like to show you guys the new build number. So the build number for iOS 11 Beta 2, as you can see right there, is 15A5304I. So the update came in around 2 gigabytes for me, coming from iOS 10.3.3, the beta release of 10.3.3. But if you're coming from the first beta of iOS 11, it's going to be around 600 megabytes, depending on which device you're on. All right, so now let's take a look at 25 of the new features and changes in iOS 11 Beta 2, and I accidentally brought up the first one right here. I don't think it's ever going to come back after this, so I wanted to leave it up. That is a new sheet there showing you the Explore feature. It says you can swipe up to see live photo effects, people, and location. We'll get into that later, but that just popped up and I wanted to show you right away just because I don't think I'll be able to bring it up again. So that is new in Beta 2. So the first thing I want to talk about, well, actually not the first thing anymore. So the second thing I want to talk about is the battery life. So the battery life, I have not used it very long, so I don't want to jump the gun here, but I do believe, and everything I've read online points to the battery life being better on Beta 2. Now, that shouldn't really be a surprise because I don't know if it can really get much worse than it was on Beta 1. So that is definitely something that a lot of people are going to be excited about and happy about, especially if you use it on your daily driver device. So another major bug in iOS 11 Beta 1 was with the YouTube application. It was all messed up in Beta 1, but the biggest thing people complained about was not being able to get the search bar up there, not being able to search on YouTube, which is a crucial part of the YouTube application. But now in Beta 2, you can see that the search bar is there now working perfectly. So now if we go into the control center here, you can see we have two new options here. So now we have the option to access within apps, and now we have the customized controls, and this is where we get to be able to customize our controls. Previously on the first beta, right when you clicked in the control center right here, it would show you the customized controls right away without having to go to this new section right here. And I actually like this a lot better. It's a lot more organized, and I feel like it tells people, what you can do, because it may not be as obvious to people who aren't as tech savvy as us. And then obviously the access within apps is going to come in handy if you play games or something like that and you always have to swipe from the bottom of the screen. This can prevent that from happening when you're playing a game or something like that. So now you can have Google Drive and OneDrive, and I believe there's a couple others that work as well with the Files app. So now you can get access to your Google Drive documents straight within the Files app, which is a killer feature. It's an awesome feature for me because I use Google Drive every single day, so I'm really gonna love this right here. Now, unfortunately, I don't think Dropbox has been added for this yet. I haven't been able to get it to work, but I can't imagine that they're gonna go without adding Dropbox support in the future. So expect Dropbox support in the Files application sometime in the future, at least before the final version of iOS 11. And speaking of the Files application, if we go ahead and pull up the share sheet, I'm gonna actually show you two features in one here. So if we take a screenshot and we long hold on the screenshot, you can see we now get a share sheet right here. So within the share sheet, you also have a new option here to save to files. So that is a great feature and a great way to immediately send something to your Files application, like a screenshot or anything like that. It could be anything, a PDF, anything you find online or anything within an application where you pull up the share sheet, you can now save it to the Files application. The next feature takes place in the Safari application. So now if we go ahead and tap and hold on the Windows icon right here, we now get 4 options instead of 3. So normally you'd get 2 or 3 options here, either close all tabs, close this tab, or a new tab, but now we have the option for a new private tab straight from tapping on the Windows icon right here. The new Do Not Disturb While Driving feature now works how it's supposed to on Beta 2. And we also have the options in here in the Do Not Disturb settings right here. You can actually activate the Do Not Disturb While Driving while connected to car Bluetooth, manually or automatically. So I have a head unit in my car that connects via Bluetooth, so it automatically connects every time I get in my car. So this is a great feature to have it when it automatically connects to the car Bluetooth. That way it knows I'm actually in my car and it doesn't rely on speed or anything like that. And if we go ahead down below that, you can see we now have the auto reply to, and you can set who you want the auto reply to go to when you have Do Not Disturb While Driving on. So you can have it set to favorites, all contacts, recents, or no one. And then of course you could change the auto reply text right there, whatever you want to auto reply to somebody when they try to call you right there. So definitely a great feature. I definitely think this is going to save some lives from people. A lot of people text while driving, check tweets while driving, whatever like that. So this is really going to come in handy and definitely save lives. So I'm really excited to use this myself. All right, so let's go ahead and get some music going right here. We're just going to play some Beats Radio here because I don't have any music on this phone. But if we go to the lock screen while we're playing, you can see the album artwork now shows up how it should. Before, it either wouldn't show anything or it just show a blank blur right there. So we now have album artwork working on the lock screen how it's supposed to. You also have this new option right here to enable AirPlay or just change whatever the audio output is. So you could see if you had like AirPods right there, you had AirPlay, an Apple TV or something like that, you could change the source straight from within there. We also have that new UI there. As you can see, this black bar looks really, really clean. You have the volume still down here. I really love the look of this little box here. So if we go into the App Store here and we go to the first tab right here, the Today view, you can see we have our account right there. If we go and click on that, we have purchased right here, and we can now have the purchase section back, and we could search our purchases right here, and we could set it to all or not on this iPhone as well. That was not working properly on beta 1. I don't believe you could search on beta 1 either. And if we go to the search section right here in the App Store, and if we search for, let's just say Google just for the sake of this video. So if we go ahead and search Google, you can see we now have a new search result right here for the developer. So you can see Google Inc. right there is a developer. It even shows developer right there. So now developers and teams actually show up in search results. And if we go ahead and click on that right there, you can see all of the apps made by Google incorporated right there. And it works for pretty much any other company as well. I don't believe the smaller ones are in there. I've tried some smaller developers and teams, but it seems like the big ones are in there. I'm sure, maybe everybody's going to be in there soon, but this is still a new feature, still in beta. So finally, a bad feature in iOS 11 beta 2. So now the low power mode toggle right here in the control center, if you go ahead and enable that, you'll see that the battery icon right there does not turn yellow like it did in beta 1, which looked really good. It kind of just signified what low power mode does, but in beta 2, it just looks like every other icon when you press it in, just the white and black right there. So not a big fan of that. I hope the yellow comes back in beta 3, or at least the final version of iOS 11. So now the status bar text is fixed in the calculator app. So in beta 1, when you open up the calculator app, the text up in the status bar would actually be black and you couldn't see the time or your battery or anything like that. So now it's white and fixed and how it's supposed to be. So we now have a new animation when we pull down from the top here, from the notification center or lock screen, whatever you want to call it now. If you pull down, you're going to notice a new animation. You can see there it kind of like just unravels. It has a really cool look right there on the music widget right there. So let me just do it one more time. I did notice also that there is a bug right there. When you go ahead and swipe down and then swipe up from the control center right after, it causes your phone to respring. And yes, I'm going to be reporting that to Apple. But I'm just going to show off that animation one last time. You can see there how it comes in like that. Definitely a new animation there. It looks really nice. So now if we go to our settings general keyboard, we now have a new option here for one-handed keyboard, and you can disable the one-handed keyboard if you want to, or of course you can set it to left or right. Let's go back and check out the new settings for Safari. So if we go to Safari here, you're going to notice we have some new settings here. If we go ahead and scroll all the way down to advanced, you'll see we have a new section here for experimental features. If we go ahead and tap on that, you can see we have all these really advanced features right here, which is meant for web developers. Like this is stuff for like CSS and accessing APIs and things like that. We have web GPU, web animations, things like that that you can enable. So I'm not sure if this is actually going to stay or if this is just a beta feature, but it's really cool that they have all these options in here for you to configure. It's almost like developer options that should be hidden or something like that, like they have in Android. So now the text on the calendar right there, the number, the 22 right there, is actually a lot bolder than it was on beta 1 and any other version of iOS. Looks really good in my opinion. So remember that new text effect called echo? So if we go to screen right here and the echo, you're going to notice that the echo right here, I guess, of the actual message is orange instead of blue or whatever color it should be. I don't think this is supposed to happen. It's orange now. I don't personally like this, so I think this is actually a bug that's going to be fixed in beta 3, but you can see now all of the echo bubbles right there for this effect are orange. So let's go back to settings here and go to privacy. Let's go to location services, scroll all the way down, system services, scroll all the way down, and you'll notice that we now have significant locations. This used to be frequent locations, and I believe it's pretty much the same thing, but it's now reworded to be significant locations. So here's a feature I really love. It's really small. A lot of people probably aren't going to see the big benefit of this, but I really, really love this. So now on photos, when you used to have to edit photos, when you used to want to edit photos, you'd have to click the little like control looking icon down there. But now you have an option up in the top right that says edit. You click on that and now you can edit your photo. It's just so much more fluid. That's how everything else on iOS is. Like the edit button's always up in the top right. So I really, really like this. And then of course, like I showed you in the very beginning, when you click edit, you're going to get that new option there, the new platter there that shows the new settings, which is again, the very first feature I showed you in this video on accident. And then of course, if you swipe up, you have the related photos and things like that right there. So really cool. So anyways, guys, those are the new features and changes I found in iOS 11 beta 2. I am absolutely positive there are more changes and features in iOS 11 beta 2 that I have not found just yet. But of course, I'll make sure to make a video later on if I found a significant amount of new features in beta 2. If not, expect a new video for beta 3. And also for you guys wanting the public beta, make sure to check back. I believe it's going to be next week. It should be next week when the public beta is out if you are in the public beta program. Now I want to give you guys a big warning about iOS 11 beta 2, and this is mainly pertaining to people interested in jailbreaking or just not staying on iOS 11. So if you update to iOS 11 beta 2, you may have a tough time and you may not be able to downgrade to iOS 10.3.2, 10.3.1, or 10.3.3 after you update to iOS 11 beta 2. Now I've tried this myself and I have been stuck in recovery mode on my iPhone 7. It just keeps booting into recovery mode constantly and it's not allowing me to downgrade. Now, I don't know if this is going to be permanent. I don't know if this is how Apple's going to do things in the future and they're not going to allow you to downgrade to a older version or what. Or it just could be a bug with iOS 11 beta 2, but I just want to let you guys know if you are interested in jailbreaking, avoid iOS 11 beta 2 at all costs because you may not be able to downgrade once you do update to it. So make sure to follow me on Twitter for updates on this. I'm going to be tweeting out if I have successfully downgraded from iOS 11 beta 2 to 10.3.1, 10.3.2, or 10.3.3. I'm going to talk about how I did it. So make sure you follow me on there if you are interested in this or if you're in this situation yourself. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure to subscribe for a lot more iOS 11 videos and just a lot more on the channel. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.